Today I wanted to talk about some graphic novels that I've read recently and some graphic novels that I have on my TBR that I'm going to be reading relatively soon. So this is a graphic novel video. I'll start by talking about some of the graphic novels that I've read recently. The first one I read was Seconds by Bryan Lee O'Malley, and Seconds follows a chef named Katie who ends up finding these magic mushrooms that can turn back time. I was just really excited because I really enjoy Bryan Lee O'Malley's art style, and I wanted something that didn't have as many volumes as Scott Pilgrim. He has perfect comedic timing with like the way he draws faces. I also thought the colors were fantastic. It's mostly like red and blue. I thought it was very vibrant and the characters were very cutely drawn. I really enjoyed Katie. I thought she was an interesting character, especially because I don't think I've ever really read a book where like a chef is a main character. Katie is like a chef running a restaurant in this one. I will say though that towards the end, I thought that the story was just falling flat for me. I think like from the beginning to like the middle part, I was setting aside things that I was feeling not going well with the story, but all these kind of came together at the end and just didn't give me a satisfying end to the graphic novel. So while I really enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the comedy, I just didn't think the story was good enough. The second one I'll talk about is Nimona, and Nimona follows Nimona, who is a shapeshifter, and her main goal in life is to be a villain. So she teams up with this supervillain who doesn't really want her help, and it's like them teaming up together to take down the kingdom, who are seen as heroes but are really not so. It was a really fun comic made into this graphic novel form. It was originally a webcomic. I just found it really refreshing and so unlike anything that I'd read before, like the kind of time period that they were in, which combined, you know, modern kind of stuff as well as like medieval kind of stuff. I definitely think that the strongest aspect of this whole story was the characters. They were heartwarming, they cared about each other. It had that emotional emphasis that sometimes you don't see as much in graphic novels because you don't have as much time to get to really know the characters. I loved all of these characters and I was really cheering for them and hoping that they would continue connecting and remain friends. The characters and the humor is what makes the story work. There are a lot of parts of it that are kind of ridiculous, but it works. It's its own world and it's its own kind of magic. I really enjoyed Nimona, and I was just like, I need to go read Lumberjanes and other stuff by Noelle Stevenson. And the last one that I'll talk about is Sweeth. Sweeth follows the main character Gus, who is actually an animal-human hybrid. This is all set in a post-apocalyptic world. He's never supposed to leave his home, his area, and one day he does, and then it just kind of follows him witnessing what's going on in this new world. I think Sweeth really hit me in a way that I didn't expect when I started reading it. It gave me that vibe like this story is capital, very capital serious, but it also felt sweet. The author wrote these characters and made you connect with them too, so even though he was trying to make bigger points, he was still kind of like, this is a normal kid who doesn't really know what's going on in the world, and you really started to empathize with Gus. I was moved by pretty much every character, even like the minor characters, just because of all the tragedies that they were facing. But I think that's to the point that these characters were all written very well, and in general this graphic novel was written very well. I think even the papery feel of the graphic novel, actually have it with me, I think it suited this graphic novel. I expected it to be glossy, and when I opened it up and saw that it was paper, I was like, why? I realized towards the end of it that the gloss wouldn't have really fit this world, and I think the papery feel fits this post-apocalyptic world much better. So I ended up really enjoying Sweeth, and for that reason I picked up the second volume right away from the library. And finally, I'll end this video by talking about some of the graphic novels and graphic memoirs I've checked out from the library recently. I think some of them I've shown in a couple of my videos, but I don't think the majority of them have been shown. The first one is Uzumaki, which I talked about in my last video. This I'm reading for Spooktober, and I'm really excited about it. I'll give you a peek. I also was commenting on someone's YouTube video, and everybody in the comments was agreeing that Junji Ito is amazing at horror graphic mangas, novels. The next ones I also have already talked about. I talked about in my Goodreads tag video, and that was the first 2 volumes of March, which I have yet to get to, but I really need to read it. And there's 3 total in this series. For Spooktober, I also said that I would be reading American Born Chinese, as this was one of the fall colors that I was going for. I also picked up Roller Girl, and I am so excited about this. I actually saw this for the first time when I was still living in West Virginia. I went to Barnes & Noble just to cool off, and I started reading it in the store, and I seriously contemplated buying it. Just reading the first few pages, I kind of get this like girls could do anything feel, which is fantastic for a children's graphic novel, so I'm super excited to read this one. And then the last time I went to the library, it was probably last weekend, I picked up 2 more things because I can't walk by the aisle, the graphic novel, graphic memoir aisle, without picking something up. So the first thing I got was Tomboy, and I've already actually started this. I started reading it at the library. It follows Liz Prince. This is a graphic memoir growing up, kind of how she didn't fit in to like what her gender was expected, though she doesn't really wear the kinds of things girls wear. It's really interesting to look at gender norms and what girls and boys are expected to look like and act like. So I'm enjoying this one. And last but not least, I got Dare to Disappoint, and I know nothing about this except I really like the art as I flip through it, and it's also about growing up in Turkey, which I thought would be an interesting thing to read about. So I'll show you some of the colors. The way the art's drawn too is kind of different. It doesn't follow the typical panels as you would expect from a graphic novel or graphic memoir. So I really thought that was interesting, and I liked what it does with the blues and the yellows. And I'll let you know what I think about it when I actually get to it. So that's pretty much it for this graphic novel video. I hope you enjoyed learning about what I thought about some of the ones that I've already read and the ones that I'm excited to read very soon. If you have any graphic novel recommendations, for sure leave them down below, because I'm obsessed with graphic novels and I have a problem. I shall see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.